r/ask Reddit. What is something that is fake but people believe that it's real? My ethnic group is very special because we are very hospitable. Nowhere else in the world will you find any people so hospitable as ours. It's because we value respecting others. That is one of our unique traits as people of my ethnic group. This is an interesting one, haha. I come from enter any country of origin. Family. We love food and family is very important to us. What? I'm from Poland. We do not care about our family and food is not important to us. Alcohol on another hand. That the Great Wall of China is the only man-made object visible from space. The Great Wall of China cannot be seen from space. It drives me nuts that so many people believe this and that there are books that publish this myth. Although it is the largest man-made structure, it is very narrow. If it was visible from space then every highway would also be visible. In 2005, a Chinese astronaut went to space and agreed that the wall is not visible from space to the naked eye. You can see space from the Great Wall of China is my go-to fact about the Great Wall, lol. New fun Great Wall fact for you to use. The cementing material used for many parts of the wall only uses glutinous rice starch as the adhesive component. New not so fun Great Wall fact. The bodies of slaves who died constructing the wall were buried under and around the foundations. People from Columbus's time did not think the earth was flat. Even people in the Middle Ages didn't think the world was flat. That was a myth. That is because it's so obviously not flat. Anyone with half a brain can see the earth isn't flat by just looking at ships coming over the horizon. They come up mast first. If the world was flat they'd start off looking small and get bigger. The only way that makes sense is if the earth is round. Kid. Reality TV. When I was a kid, I thought wrestling wasn't a staged fight. I love Sting, Goldberg and Kidman. When I found out the truth, it was harder than about Santa. Same. Then I grew up and realized that, although the outcome is predetermined, you cannot fake gravity and all of those high-flying moves and bodies crashing together is all real and that's where the entertainment is at. Karma. Some people can live their entire lives being human garbage and never have to suffer for it. Other people can live their entire lives being truly decent human beings and do nothing but suffer. Life isn't fair. So it's incredibly insulting for people to say things like it's okay. Karma will get that person in the end. For years I honestly thought that everyone knew karma and luck are just names for happenstance. A friend told me he didn't believe in luck a few years ago. Eventually we got to the point I asked, wait, do you think it's a deity or something? Turns out he thought anyone who mentioned luck was basically going on about their religious beliefs. Do you think it's a deity or something? Lady Luck. Hallowed be thy name. Some of the Insta influencer photos. Some? Do you want me to replace it with most? Naturopathic doctors are not real doctors. Stay far away from these people. There is a reason why they send you to an actual physician in order to get a diagnostic lab referral. Just remember that ND stands for not a doctor. We only use 10% of our brain. If you still believe this then you actually only use 10% of your brain. You mean, people who believe we only use 10% of our brain are the proof that there are people who use 10% of their brain? Good thing that I subscribed to cloud braining. That blood is blue until being exposed to oxygen. And after I've explained that their vein looking blue through their skin is an optical illusion, they point at their arm and say, look, it's blue. If they ever give blood or have a lab test, easy to see that blood is not exposed and will be dark. Perhaps you can use that in support of your argument. Astrology. I don't know. Cancer is real. Same for crabs, the gift that keeps on giving. Plastic recycling. I thought my whole life that as long as you recycled plastic it would be reused, and I thought that recycling was saving the environment. But most plastic isn't recyclable, so we're eventually just putting it into landfills. Even the biodegradable plastics like PLA aren't actually biodegradable except in very specific circumstances. I found this out after I started doing some 3D printing with a 3D pen, and now it's really bothering me. Paper recycling harms the planet through the energy consumption and chemicals used to bleach the paper white. We literally grow trees for paper, though. On tree farms, no one's cutting the rainforest down for toilet paper. They're doing it for things like grazing land for cattle and palm oil. Forests are being cut down for fast furniture, think IKEA and Wayfair. The way we consume furniture has changed so drastically over the last 20 years to the detriment of the planet. White Jesus. Personally, I like Korean Jesus. Quit wasting Korean Jesus time. He's got Korean shit to do. Homeopathy being effective, beyond the placebo effect, of course. Also psychics, palmistry, astral projection, auras, magical thinking. The list could go on. I read psychics as physics and I think that's the most confused I've ever been in my life. I genuinely could not figure out why physics did not exist. Then I remembered they do and that I'm an idiot. And those shitheads who believe they can get the nutrition they need from sunlight. I only eat normal food when I want to. How often is that? That's an absurd question and irrelevant. How dare you question my belief? Edit. Turns out Dre had nothing to do with this at all. Supposedly. The thing about words is if enough people use them the same way, they exist. Prole. The entire book The Secret, willing things into existence like money does not happen. The first time I heard about this book was around 10 years ago when I volunteered to help on a small local theater production as was trying to boost my CV. There was this woman who has managed to get the space, money and actors to put on a production of a play called Dark Nativity. The writer of the play was also involved. In my opinion, I thought the play was awful, but I kept it to myself. Also, I'm not religious, so my opinion was biased. However, the creators were convinced it was going to be a huge hit, were even talking about how it was probably going to tour after. One time I asked if they had bookings at other theaters. They said no, but knew it was going to happen because of this book they were reading called The Secret. The woman then told me she knew it would be a sellout play because of her following the book's teachings night after night, and she would picture a theater full of people cheering for the play. Apparently it was this confidence that got her the funding. So maybe there is some truth to it. Anyway, opening night comes and we have about 40-ish people. She was devastated and said this is not how the book said it would turn out. The numbers dwindled night after night, and then she just disappeared before the run of the show even ended. Someone told me she thought the ticket sales would cover the money she took out to put on the show. TLDR. Someone put on a play and thought it'd be a success because used a secret book. Apparently it was this confidence that got her the funding. So maybe there is some truth to it. I think this is no small thing. Actually, if the book helps people with positive visualization which leads to confidence and positive action, then it's not a bad thing. I think even the subtle shift from wishing you had something or wishing for some sort of self-improvement versus starting to internalize that I already have it can actually be helpful as well. Trickle-down economics would work if there was a cap on how much wealth one person could have. In order for something to trickle down, it first needs to be able to overflow. Abstaining from sex leads to better performance in sports like boxing. It's been debunked multiple times, but dumbasses still do it and vouch for it. It's a thing coaches invented so the sportsmen wouldn't go out all night looking for sex cause that would really decrease their effectiveness. There's actually a much better reason why boxers don't have sex before a bout. They don't like each other that much. Sugar rush. Yeah, sugar is energy, but unless your kid is diabetic, they are able to control their blood sugar content. It's called insulin. Sugar doesn't make kids hyperactive. Don't believe me? Look at a basic lunch. PB plus J sandwich and a glass of orange juice. There are 17 sugar cubes in this meal, but it doesn't cause hyperactivity. It's an example of nocebo. Children are told they become hyperactive when they have sweets, so they act hyperactive. If you stop propagating this myth, your children will stop being hyperactive when they eat candy. Tell them it's unhealthy when you deny them sweets. Don't parrot bullshit that they won't be able to sleep if you give them chocolate ice cream for dessert. It's probably also because they're just excited. They're happy they got sweets. When do kids tend to have lots of sugar? At special events, parties and celebrations. They're not hyperactive because they ate sugar. They're hyperactive because they are at an event and are happy they just got sweets. Unless your kid is diabetic, They are able to control their blood sugar content. It's called insulin as a T1D. Your logic is a bit faulty. Having a high blood sugar level makes you feel like shit and actually makes you feel lethargic. From a very simple way of looking at things, insulin is a hormone that allows your body's cells to intake and use glucose. A high blood sugar implies that there is a lack of insulin and all that sugar is in your blood because it has nowhere else to go because the body can't actually use it for energy or store it into fat. T1 diabetics lack the ability to produce their own insulin and T2 diabetics can't produce insulin to an effective level for themselves. Dong enlarging pills. So, I'm getting a 5-foot long monster in my pants after I take them. Pornhub lied to me. We value your privacy. Your privacy is very valuable, so we're selling it. NFTs. Hey, my ludicrously overpriced pixeled monkey JPEG will be worth millions when I earn enough money to buy it off myself to falsely inflate the value. Just gotta hope the link doesn't change or I'll just own a very expensive 404 error on the blockchain. Bigfoot. By now, they'd have found something besides unusably blurry video. I remember watching Bigfoot Hunters and thinking I know they'd never find anything because if they did it would have been all over the news way before this show aired. The famous video was remastered and posted in Reddit a few weeks ago. It looked more fake than your nephew Ape's costume for Fat Tuesday. The mass panic over War of the Worlds never happened. The papers ran it to show radio was untrustworthy to promote themselves and Wells ran with it because it was great PR. Searched this thread to learn something new and found one I'll have to research. Thanks. Kim Kardashian's butt. Everything related to astrology. The government's concern and care for the citizens. Got no ducking joke. I can't stand it when I hear people say shit like I'm voting for so and so because they actually care about us. No, they don't. They do not give a flying duck about you. Instagram. Finland was clearly created by the Swedes as a propaganda tool to establish how powerful they are, and then the Soviets swooped in and said, hey, Finland is ours now, and then Sweden declared that they will be neutral over the embarrassment. But then during World War II the US said that Finland beat the Soviets in the Winter War, which then caused a down spiral ending in the fall of the Soviet Union. Proof. Can you even understand Finnish? It's just gibberish. Or have you ever been to Finland or Rovaniemi where Santa Claus supposedly lives? Well, let me tell you that Santa Claus isn't real. That humans can make emotion-free decisions. Edit. This is based on neuroscientific research. Antonio Damasio. That showed people who had brain damage that prevented them from feeling emotions were incapable of making decisions. The idea is that no matter how logical you think a decision is, emotions play a role. Some animal facts. Lemmings throwing themselves off cliffs because of overpopulation. Alpha wolves and the whole wolf pack memes, analogies that go around. How some animals are monogamous and therefore should be used as evidence that monogamous relationships are the norm, etc. Yeah, the lemmings one is BS. The guy who was reporting on it would have his crew throw some off of a cliff so he could record it. Political representation. Our governments and politicians working for our good. Birds. 70% of the content my parents watch on Facebook. It's not even politics most of the time. You can repost literal movie scenes from horror movies and act like it's super spooky real footage, and half of these boomers will believe it's real. I had a aunt believe with all of her heart that goblins and magic were real because she saw video on Facebook. Steven Seagal's martial arts abilities. Psychanalyze. While Freud's research is open to what is, today, psychology and psychiatry, his conclusions were mostly untrue. Chiropractors, it is just bullshit. My wife once wanted to bring our toddler to her chiropractor for seasonal allergies because the chiropractor said she could help her. Not a chance. My wife feels relief after her appointments, which is great, but there's no chance she's touching my kid. Thankfully she let it go when I told her I wasn't comfortable with the risk. Never mind there being zero chance that an alignment will help an allergy, but it still makes me angry that the chiropractor gets to just make claims like that. Astrology. Porn. 12% of Americans believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.